It's great to be here as part of the Business of Fashion conference. We're at a time where the worlds of technology, media, e-commerce, and fashion are all colliding. And our journey today begins with the place where we as a firm always begin, which is with the user. And we look at users' time and attention. So here's our attention clock. When we look at multitasking, we see as the average person is spending 12 and a half hours a day on technology and media. How does this look in terms of growth over time? It's really curious to see that the average person last year was spending 12 hours and 24 minutes a day. And then as a result of shelter in place, that number has already jumped to 13 hours and 13 minutes. When you look at where people are spending their time on social, it's curious to see how that the biggest social networks have changed the way that people are spending their time. So we see that the biggest social network at 15 hours and 28 minutes a month is Facebook and Messenger. Suddenly, out of nowhere, comes TikTok, which is taking up 9 hours and 14 minutes on average. That is more than Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, and LinkedIn combined. When you look at the users of each of these services, it's surprising to see how much time they're spending. On TikTok, the average user is spending 21 minutes a day. In Instagram, it's 11 minutes a day. Some other things have happened in the last months. First of all, the average video subscriber has gone from 3.1 subscriptions to 4.1 subscriptions in just the last 6 months. A lot of those video streaming are going to be watched through connected TVs, and we expect that within the next couple of years, over 100% of all American households are going to be using a connected TV. So it's not just all users that we should be focused on, it's the most important ones. We call them super users. 23% of all users are super users. And here's how they look in terms of time. Super users spend 14.6 hours a day on technology and media. All other users spend 10.3 hours a day. These super users, they over-index against every single category of consumption. So those 23% account for 44% of video time spent, 67% of all gaming time spent, and 76% of all music and podcasts. The same thing is true in virtual reality. Those 23% account for 74% of all virtual reality time spent. And the trend continues through e-commerce, where 23% of all super users spend 5 times as much as all other users on e-commerce purchases. So let's talk about e-commerce. The e-commerce world is likely to continue to expand over the next couple of years. We forecast that between 2020 and 2024, e-commerce will add $2.4 trillion in growth. When you look at the global e-commerce business, what you notice is that 6 companies account for most of the e-commerce spend across the world. These companies, they're not traditional retailers. In a lot of cases, they are marketplaces. They're marketplace platforms. In fact, 80% of all e-commerce today is marketplaces. It's third-party sellers. All of the major e-commerce companies around the world are already huge marketplaces of third-party sellers. Amazon, for example, over 60% of its volume today is coming from third-party sellers. And of course, eBay, the entire marketplace is third-party sellers. There are a whole set of new companies have jumped up in place, and what those companies are doing is they're enabling new marketplaces and new individuals. So for example, you've got Shopify, Square, Magento. They allow third-party sellers and small sellers to become big-time e-commerce players. Something's fascinating that's happened during COVID-19. 52% of all online shoppers are now buying from another online retailer. And 81% of those people expect that they're going to continue to spend with that new online retailer. This trend carries through to all of the major categories. So in grocery, 43% of consumers bought from a new online grocer. In clothing, apparel, and accessories, you see 27%, and in beauty and personal care, 22%. And we believe a large percentage of those will continue. So in online grocery, this is fascinating. We forecast that 134 million people in the US were going to be buying online grocery. And that number, as a result of shelter in place, it blew the roof off of those numbers. This year alone, we're expecting 140 million people are going to be buying their groceries online. And that entire line has shifted up to the point where 4 years from now, we expect it'll be 163 million people in the US who are buying their groceries online. Also, social commerce, this is where people can see influencers on social sites and then they can buy what they're seeing. That business is also going to explode from $26 billion today to $69 billion by 2024. And there's another phenomenon, it's live stream shopping. Live stream is sort of the QVC into these worlds where it's influencers that are doing live stream selling, and they're able to do so and have people buy the products off of the same video. This is already a $70 billion business in China, and we're likely to see it through Facebook, Amazon, and then a new company, PopShop Live, which has already raised $100 million. Where's a lot of the shopping going to start? It's going to start in virtual reality and augmented reality. We forecast that the virtual reality and augmented reality business is going to grow from $2.4 billion today to almost $20 billion within the next 4 years. If you look at all of the people today who have bought a VR headset, 56% of that was purchased during shelter in place. 34% of them made a repeat purchase, and 22% purchased for the very first time. Now here, this is surprising. Although 96% of VR headset purchasers are gamers, 60% of them are using VR for other activities beyond gaming. The augmented virtual reality worlds really change as a result of augmented reality and what we're seeing today through a phone. This is an application that allows somebody to teach biology. This is an application that's used by companies like IKEA and Wayfair so that you can test the sofa out before you put it in your home. And this is in terms of e-commerce. This is the ability for somebody to browse through different shoes, decide to see it up close, and then compare it to other shoes. And of course, the thing that we always see with augmented reality is the person who's able to try on clothes. Here's a guy trying on not just regular clothes, but different kinds of fantasy wear. He's able to see how it's going to look on him way before he decides to order it. Augmented reality is going to reach much bigger scale once the cost of the augmented reality headsets comes down. Today we have the Google Glass, which is at close to $1,000. But soon we expect that Apple will release its own headset for augmented reality, and we're expecting it's going to go into wide distribution. Augmented reality and virtual reality, they are grounded in one major consumer activity, and that's video gaming. Video gaming revenues are going to grow from $145 billion today to $198 billion by 2024. And during shelter in place, another place where people's usage of video games went way up. 29% increase in time spent during COVID-19, and after we move out of shelter in place, forecasted at 14% will continue. And that's off a very high base. But if you take away one thing out of my presentation today, is that gaming is going to become the new technology paradigm. And why is that? It's that everything you're going to be able to do in other worlds, in the internet, in other places, in the physical world, you're going to be able to do inside of gaming. Everything from events to theme parks to search to fashion, everything will take place inside of gaming. So let me show you some examples. Here's a Travis Scott concert that took place earlier this year within Fortnite, and the same thing was happening with deadmau5 and Marshmello. Here's Animal Crossing. During shelter in place, we saw a lot of dating going on in Animal Crossing, and now this shows a wedding that's taking place inside of Animal Crossing. Students are today building virtual models of their campuses through Minecraft, and this is UC Berkeley. And also Roblox, it's an application where you can build your own games. Roblox just filed to go public. And then casinos. Casinos within Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto already you can play at the casino, but very soon you'll be able to play with real dollars, have real winnings or real losses. Here's some applications from fashion. One of the most important things that happens inside of gaming are skins. Your ability to purchase different kinds of outfits and fashion to wear. Here's where inside of Sims 4 where you're able to buy clothing from Moschino. Also, League of Legends has a collaboration today with Louis Vuitton where the ancient weapon is created by Louis Vuitton. It's branded and created. And this is going to translate into real collaborations. Here's the Louis Vuitton League of Legends collection that won't just be purchased by gamers, but by lots of other people that aren't necessarily players of the game, but understand the brand. Also, what's fascinating is this move from physical games and from games that you download into game streaming. You have 13 million new people are playing online games, and 47% of them are going to continue subscribing. It's phenomenal to see all of the major tech companies are going to get into gaming. This is what we call the gaming stack. These are all the different elements of the gaming business. And the major tech platforms on the left, in a lot of places they have white spaces. And you can see the ones that are full stack players are Microsoft, Sony, and Tencent. And for these companies to begin to fill out their white spaces, we believe there's going to be a lot of mergers ahead. The gaming and tech platforms are going to be merging and we're going to see an enormous amount of mergers, of purchases, of acquisitions of these companies. Some other things come out of gaming which are very important. These are other new activities that don't necessarily require you to be a gamer, but you can enjoy them and play with them. Here's esports where you, as part of an audience, can watch gaming. We're expecting to see really unprecedented growth. Esports are going to go from 560 million people globally that are watching esports to 796 million within the next 4 years. The amount of time that people have increased, as well as viewers, is also, it's something that's really unprecedented. Between 2019 and 2020, we went from 39 million people watching esports to 66 million people. Esports and fashion are places where they're going to play together. We see Gen G, which is an esports team partnering with Puma, and we see Fnatic partnering with Gucci for a dive watch. And there are other things that are coming out of esports that are also going to be important in terms of the worlds of sponsorship and new activities. Drone racing is one where not only can you race the drone yourself, but you can see and root for different players. And finally, there's parkour. Parkour takes a lot of the same actions that you could do as a first-party gamer and translates them into the real world. And we're going to see this, it's going to become an Olympic sport, and it's going to become one where it's going to involve a lot of people. So I've talked about a number of things. I've talked about video gaming, super users, e-commerce, and esports. All of these things are on our website, activate.com. You can see the full presentation, and I hope you can spend more time thinking about how technology and media are going to change your worlds in fashion. Thank you.